G'day there, welcome back to The Rayside. My name is Hannah, and today I'm going to be giving you my full review of episode 10 and 11 from episode 3 of The Bad Batch. Okay, I have come straight off from just watching these episodes, and I just have so many thoughts. This show is going in so many directions in a fantastic way. We are exploring such deep themes, and the whole season has been pointing towards we're going to get to this darker, grittier point, and it's been slowly kind of climbing downward to it. And these episodes are kind of, we really start to see that darkness come out in this show. Both episodes have so many plot points and interesting characters in them. I just have so many thoughts from both of them, but they're going to kind of meld into one review of both the episodes because they're pretty closely linked. First of all, the first episode, starting off in this, on Tantiss, we see the clinical side of what's happening in Hemlock's vault. This is super dark. It's super grey. It's super creepy what is going down. They have force, I was going to say force users, more high midichlorian kids that they are testing on, figuring out all the cloning techniques that Palpatine wants to do and achieve. And just this as a concept is just morally challenging because it feels so irky. And we really feel that, like, I think the audience's experience of this feeling really creepy kind of explored with Emery's character. Now here we get Emery Carr, who is a clone, and we get to kind of be in her POV for this episode. And I kind of really loved that. I think she's an interesting character. We haven't had too much of her explanation of her life on, but for us to kind of feel like we're in her shoes and seeing for the first time what this vault is, I thought was a really good way to kind of tell the story of what's actually happening on Tantiss. And so when we actually get into the vault, we meet these kids that are high midichlorians. It's really confronting. I think a lot of people, me included, we're figuring out what's in this vault. And the fact that they have kids in there is really just, it irks you deeply. And this comes out in this episode. With this storyline, we also get this story of this baby, this really young infant that is a high midichlorian count that we get to meet. And we see the comeback of a fantastic bounty hunter of Cad Bane in this episode, and he is there to collect this high midichlorian bounty, which I just as a fact love that this is a callback to that arc in Clone Wars where he is off finding Jedi infants, and he has that list from, an unknown kind of source of trying to find and collect these high midichlorian count children. And that is such a Clone Wars arc, and that was a really intense arc, I think, for the Clone Wars show at its time when it was coming out. That was a really kind of stark arc. But I love how they kind of tap back into this, that Cad Bane is the one to still be on this kind of journey, because obviously Palpatine's still after it. He had the very, very first introductory explorations of cloning and midichlorian counts of other specimens and trying to get that blood. I think that was tapped in back in the Clone Wars show, like what we saw, I think it was season 2 or 3. Yeah, I think it was season 2 of this storyline. And we're still exploring that today because in the Star Wars era, this is only 5 years, from the middle of the Clone Wars to now. There's probably only about 5 years between that. So now Palpatine has all this money and a kind of opportunity and resource at his expense to be able to discover that. And I love how Cad Bane is kind of that character is kind of sewn in here really comfortably, and in terms of it fits really well. Him doing what he's doing and capturing these bounties, these high midichlorian kids, and then delivering them back to the Empire. I love that. There's just so many things to talk about. Emery's character and kind of interaction with becoming the head of science at Tantiss instead of Nala Se, and Nala Se being locked up. We get some fantastic conversation of these two. Nala Se asking the questions of Emery of what are you going to do? Are you going to be the one to protect these kids? Because I tried and I'm locked up. What are you going to do? Those are the realistic questions that Emery has to answer. And in my opinion, if I had to call it now, I do think we're going to be seeing an Emery Carr turnaround. I think she's going to turn on the Empire at some point and be the one to help escape Omega, whatever. She's going to help out and she's going to turn against the Emperor eventually. This really kind of runs into my review of episode 11 as well, where we get the CX Trooper being alerted, being still on the hunt for Omega, and finding through Fee, through Sid, through the female Trandoshan that we still are mad at for selling out to the Empire. We hear that Sid was the one to tell the Empire about Fee, and then the CX Trooper finds Fee, and then we eventually finds Pabu. This is such a perfect way, like obviously horrible for Pabu and the Bad Batch, but like what a fantastic way that has happened, and a really like sneaky, dirty way to do it. And I think that fit the storyline really well. And then we get to see these characters of the trooper go there, and it's still like the foot is just not off the gas with the show. It's just constantly going. Even if we like deter Data from the main storyline of the Bad Batch's journey, like we got to see a lot more of Emery and Antennas, like I just mentioned, but like we had so much it's just so intense the whole time. And the second we get back with the trooper, we are going full throttle still on our way to Pabu with the trooper. This then obviously leading the trooper to Pabu and subsequently the whole Empire. We get to see this horrible situation kind of unfold, but I think it was emphasized by the fact that we had these quieter, softer moments on Pabu, these like final moments essentially of Omega and her friend kind of sharing this moment of leaving Pabu and we're going to go but have these keepsakes. And I found it super emotional that she was wanting to leave Lula and Tex Goggles with Pabu and on Pabu. I thought that was really meaningful. I think it showed a lot of Omega's character and development, and what she said in that scene of like, we want, this to be safe here and be kept here and remembered here. And I think that was a really big show of her character development. And then obviously, stocking the Marauder with all their supplies that they need and having these sweet moments with all the characters around and seeing how beautiful this place is, it just made me have a sinking feeling in my stomach where I'm like, we are not going to see this place like this ever again. And that is exactly what happened. The action that happened here was really interesting. I really found it interesting that with how it went down. It had the fantastic, another great just visual of a big Star Destroyer or Venator come across like above Pabu. It was a really epic shot, and the Bad Batch looking up to it. Then it just happens. The Havoc Marauder blown up by the CX Trooper, which we'll get to why that will be even more sad in a second. But Wrecker being really injured in the moment of it, and what a random subplot line that he saved Gonki in that process, but I love that fact. We have Wrecker hardly injured, and then we have all the gunships start blowing up, like most of Pabu, like by the seashore. Then we have everyone on the run, everyone's hiding, stormtroopers rolling out. It's looking peak Empire, what it should be, in a terrible way, but also it was so cool to see that happen. I think they did it in such a perfect way. One thing I think I've always kind of expected from this, the ending of this season, and especially with how we've been building up Omega's character, is that she is going to have to make some sort of a sacrifice or come to some sort of decision in her mind of like where she stands with the Bad Batch. I know, Hunter and Crosshair are trying to kind of decide for her where they should keep her, how do they keep her safe, do they find out what the Empire wants her for? Like, they have been the parents, the dads in the situation, trying to figure out what is the best course of action. But Omega really takes the reins here. Hunter is out of action trying to stay alive with a burning gunship. And Crosshair is putting up a fight and saying, no, Omega. But she is putting, her foot down saying, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to save people. Which I think, again, it comes back to that thing of like, that character development of Omega is so amazing. It is so good and well written that I loved it so much. But this episode just ends with such intensity of these characters are in disarray. And I don't know if people would be complaining that Omega is back with the Empire and back to square one. But to me, I think this is how absolutely sensationally terrifying of a situation that Omega has admitted herself back into the Empire's hands, but in this way. And she kind of knows that they want her and need her, and they know that she knows that, and how she will be tracked and found would just be such a fantastic story to see in this show. Overall, these episodes were just so incredible. I found so many moments that I was just so quietly deep in contemplation, But then also I would just like stop breathing because it's like if I move a muscle, I might miss something. The dialogue through these episodes of these characters being, challenging the morality of the Empire, which is really what the show is about and what these characters are trying to do, was really fascinating. Especially Emery's part, in episode 10, was really intense about that of, she is high up and hardcore in the Empire, and she's seeing firsthand what it really means to be a part of the Empire and supporting their cause. So the question of the morals of the Empire, I think has always been a key point of storytelling in Star Wars, but I think this show really hones in on a detail of it that we've just never seen like that before. Episode 11 just kind of was a combination of all these beautiful things that we loved have loved throughout Bad Batch. We've loved seeing Pabu. Obviously, the Bad Batch are back together and working together, which has been really lovely. We have all these sweet moments on this island, and then to see it destroyed, and the Havoc Marauder destroyed. Iconic ship. It got razor crested and just got blasted into smithereens, and we're not going to see it again, which is super sad. Wonderful ship. Fantastic looking ship. So that is a super sad part of this episode as well. But again, the Bad Batch are just, they're in disarray. Amiga is gone now. She's off with the Empire. So how Hunter is going to find out with Crosshair, he is going to lose his mind about it because it's just insane. I really love these episodes. I think they were intense. I was engaged. I could not move my eyes off the screen the whole time. The only tiny complaint, it's not even a complaint, but it's just like I just wanted more. The episodes were only about 21 minutes each, which isn't that long for these episodes, but damn, did they tell a story in those 21 minutes. Both of those episodes were so jam-packed of information and intensity. And again, it is just building my argument and point of the Bad Batch this season has done the best storytelling that we've seen in like modern Star Wars. And my point on that has been strengthened week by week. And these two aren't an exception and have strengthened that point for me. So let me know down in the comments below what you thought of these two episodes, episode 10 and 11 of The Bad Batch. I thought they were so intense. I love where this story is going, and the characters are really being challenged. Make sure you are jumping into the live shows we are having here on the Rayside all throughout the week, where we're going live for a pre-show, watch party, and episode discussion for these Bad Batch episodes. So make sure you are hitting that bell to know when we are going live. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Make sure you like it on your way out. Make sure you always choose the Rayside.